Welcome to Brothers of the Word, because, brother, you need the Word. And right now we are in the middle of a series, the second portion of this series, simply called Success Forces. And today I am going to deal with another one of those success forces, the success force of passive income. Now, I know you're saying that doesn't sound like a real spiritual sermon. The success force of passive income. The comedian Jackie Mason said, he says, money is not the most important thing in the world, love is. He said, fortunately, I love money. Now, that was a joke, but it's real. That's why Jesus had to tell the preachers of the Pharisees, he said, for the Pharisees are covetousness, for they love money. So money has always been a part of life in one form or another. And today's message is going to be actually partly business and partly spiritual, but I tell you that business is spiritual. Money is spiritual, because either you have a divine or worldly spirit guiding you, or you got logic and no divine, and you're just doing stuff by the world. So you either have a divine or worldly spirit guiding you, even with your money and even with your business. But when God guides you with your money, most of the time it will line up with worldly principles, except in the arena of your giving, because that's the thing that goes against the worldly principle. The worldly principle says, if I keep more for myself, I will have more. And God says, to them who shall give, even more shall be added unto them. So there's a difference in that principle. That's the one place where it leaves logic. But so much of what God speaks, even in his word about money, is logical, and it makes practical sense. And right now, the reason I'm dealing with this success force of passive income is all the rage right now. Let me tell you what passive income basically means. Passive income means that you're getting money and doing no work. That's really what it boils down to. I meet with my boys every week, and we talk about their aspirations, what they want to do. And my two oldest, one of them says, I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I am 30 years old. And he has a plan for that. And the other one says, well, I really want to focus on some passive income. And I understood what he meant by passive income, that the modern generation is not geared to the generation prior, where they were interested, the prior generation, they just worked till they drop. They worked till they retired. They just hard work. The younger generation, to be honest about it, is just not interested in all that heavy hard work. So my son said, I want to develop me some passive income. It is a great word that really means I want to get paid without going to work. Now, there's nothing wrong particularly with that if it's done the right way. And there is a success force of passive income, but 95% of people who go after passive income never achieve it. And if you Google now how to make passive income, you come up with all this long list of stuff they will tell you. They'll tell you to start a YouTube channel. And if you start a YouTube channel and you build all of these followers, you can make all of this money. You can. But 95% or perhaps 99% of people who start a YouTube channel, I would say most of the people here listening to me now got a YouTube channel, but you ain't making a penny off that YouTube channel. So the challenge is you can do it, but very few. They talk about starting a blog. You can make money off a blog. All you got to do is get all these followers on your blog, and you make all this money. Yes, you can. But 99% of people who start a blog never make a penny off of that blog. You can write an ebook, and you can make all this money. You write an ebook, and you publish your ebook. The people just download the ebook and just pay you forever. It sounds good. And once you finish your ebook, you can just be laying up there asleep. And your money is just rolling in while you snoozing, while you count sheep, while you off in dreamland. Your money just rolling in. They've got all of these seminars that you can buy, and people will teach you how to make all of this money passively, which means that you don't have to do any work, and the money just rolls in. A lot of people will go into business so they can have passive income, so they can stop working, not understanding that most entrepreneurs who go in business, they work harder than the folk working a 9 to 5. They don't understand that principle. When I taught the 24-hour MBA and this sanctuary was full, I said, look, how many of you in here in business, and it's just you? You don't have any employees, it's just you. About 85% of the people, if not 90% of the people, raised their hand. They were in business. They were here for the 24-hour MBA at the 24hourmba.com. They were here to learn. We taught 24 sessions to teach people how to run business, but 90%, it was just them. So a lot of times we may go into business so we can relax, not realizing the chances are you're not going to relax. The chances are you're going to work your behind off. So I want to talk to you about just the success force of passive income. First of all, passive takes massive. What do you mean passive takes massive? Passive income, as a general rule, takes a massive amount of work. Now, you can get passive income. Matter of fact, I can get passive income right now. To be honest, I don't have to go to work if I don't want to. I just don't. I don't have to go to work for the whole year, and my income will not change. My money will just keep rolling in. But the principle is this. Usually, people who have achieved the point of where they can have passive income don't lay down. If you look at the top 4 richest people in the world right now, number 1 is Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos worth perhaps $200 billion. That's 200,000 million. A lot of money. So he's worth a lot of money. Do you know Bezos still going to work every day? He's still running Amazon. He's still the CEO of Amazon, and he is no remote CEO. Bezos making decisions. He's actively involved. Bezos still working his behind, the richest man in the world. He can be passive all day. He does not have to work another day in his life. Bill Gates, second richest man in the world. Now, he doesn't work at Microsoft, but he's constantly working at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. The man is doing all kind of changes all day. Some people are calling him the Antichrist because he's working so much on these vaccines. He's not the Antichrist. It's just folk get all kind of conspiracy theories here and there. But the point is the man's still working. He's worth $100 billion. He don't have to hit a lick of the snake the rest of his life. He's the same age as I am. He's still going to work every day. He's still working hard. He's still working to change the world. These 2 men have the ability for passive income more than anybody on earth. Warren Buffett just turned 90. Warren Buffett, he is the 3rd richest man in the world, or 4th, one of the 2. And Warren still go to work every day. Warren still invested. The man 90. He's 90 years old, all those billions of dollars, and he's still going to work. The 4th one is Elon Musk, who just made it to number 4. Founder of Tesla, SpaceX. Do you know Elon Musk was also one of the co-founders of PayPal? They sold PayPal for $200 million. Elon, when he sold PayPal, could have retired, had passive income, did not have to work another day in his life. Elon started Tesla. Elon started SpaceX. Elon started the Boring Company. Elon started the solar roof tiles. Elon started Neuralink. The man's still working. When he was building Tesla with all this money, he was working 100 hours a week. And he still works hard. So the point is, those who have the ability, the greatest on earth, to do no work, are working harder than most of us right now. There is a mentality. So usually great success and the ability to build passive income does not go with folk who want to lay down. They're different natures, they're different mentalities. The folk who have the brain and the energy, because usually to build passive income, you can take the first, just building a YouTube channel. The number one tech reviewer right now is Marquise Brownlee. He's a dark-skinned black man. Millions of followers, making a whole lot of money. He's the number one tech reviewer on YouTube. Marquise started in college. He built up to over 1 million followers in college. And now he's number one, and he's not going to stop ever. There's a mentality that goes along. So the success force of passive income, I'm going to tell you how to get passive income, but it's not the way most of the folk will tell you who charging you for a seminar. I'm going to tell you how to do that. And I'm actually going to use what my son Josie's has told his brothers. Josie's is the son who says, Daddy, I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 30 years old. He said, but I'm going to still be living at home. Now, you said, well, how are you going to be a millionaire still living at home? He said, I'm going to be still living at home. I'm going to be still driving my car. And he said, I might buy a slightly upgraded car, but it ain't going to be no super fancy car. So Josie's has a plan, and see him living. He said, look, now I can do either one or two things. He said, I'm going to buy a house, but I'm going to rent it out. I'm going to stay at home where the rent is free, the utilities is free, and no taxes I got to pay. I can take all the money that I would be spending. I'm going to buy a house, rent the house out, but I'm going to see, this is all in his plan of how he's going to be a millionaire by 30 years old. I've got a friend of mine who has more money, earned money than anyone I know. He's the only person I allowed to stay with me. He lived with me for almost 2 years. He was a college classmate of mine. He just got millions. He's retired, but he's not retired. He spends hours every day studying investments and the market. He just makes all kind of money. He'll tell James and me all this money he's made. He said, look, man, I bought this stock here at $75. It's now $100. In 3 days, I sold it for $130. He bought Tesla 5 months ago when it was $400, and Tesla just hit $2,500. So he made all he done. But he stays up his job right now. Even though he's retired, his job, he studies investing. And he investing. And when we go with him on a trip, he got more cash money than anybody. We take a trip together every year. He just got loaded with cash money. We get ready to go to breakfast. He coming downstairs with a Denny's coupon. I said, man, you got all this money, and you coming downstairs with a Denny's coupon for us to get $2 off of breakfast. But then I understood why he got all this money. People who have money have a mentality of saving and investing. People who are in trouble have a mentality of what can I buy? And they try to impress folk. I had lunch with him last week. He drives up in a 1998 Tahoe. He drives a 1998 Tahoe. And I know without question. See, he just made about $150,000 off Tesla. So I know he can buy any car he wants cash. He could literally buy a Rolls Royce cash if he wanted to. He can buy any car he wants. He drives up in a 1998 Tahoe. And he says, people ask me all the time about selling them that Tahoe. I won't sell them. It's a classic. It's a classic, and it's paid for. And see, what our mentality is, let me get me a brand new something so I can impress folk. So first of all, sometimes to get passive income, we have to have our minds straight, because usually the people who want passive income to do no work never get it because it takes a massive amount of work to get the passive income to start with. And usually by the time the people who are able to get it, they don't stop working because number one, they're in the mode, and number two, they enjoy it. My friend, he just enjoys investing. He enjoys making money, not spending money. And and I've been trying to work. I said, look, man, you the same age as I am. We getting on up. You need to enjoy spend a little something on yourself. He said, I've been working on it. I've really been working on that. And we're going to lunch the month earlier, and he somehow left, and he had both credit card receipts where, you have the merchant copy and the customer copy. He had both receipts, and he called back to the restaurant once he realized that. And he said, well, I knew how much it was because I journaled everything I spend in my journal. I said, you do what? You mean the lunch? You journal how much the lunch was? But that's why he's got more earned money than anybody I know. There's a difference in mentality there. So some of you want to say, well, Pastor, tell me how to get this passive income. See, first of all, you got to get the mindset for the money. See, many of you think the money comes for the mindset. No, the mindset comes before the money. Now, I want you to be balanced to where you're not overly tight. If you want a new car, go buy you a new car. And I wish I just got me another car. I wish I'd have gone ahead and bought a new car, but I didn't. I bought a 3-year-old car because I got this old mentality that sometimes, it is the best value. But I wish I had bought a new car. That's another sermon. I'll tell you about that sometime. But the point is, I want you to get the mindset before you get the money. Now, some of you in here, how I'm going to tell you how to get passive income, to be honest about it, it's too late. I'm just going to be honest with you, too late. So what I'm going to tell you, that this is particularly for those of you who are young. AV, if you would, put the graphic up on the screen. This is a graphic basically that deals with two gentlemen. One of them, as you can see, named Jack, and one of them named Blake. Now, Jack started investing at the age of 21. And at the age of 21, he put in $2,400 every year for 9 years and stopped at 30. $2,400, that's about $50 a week. Now, this is the program my son Josie is putting all of his brothers on. He said if you save $50 a week, and if you start at the age of 21 years old and stop saving any more money when you hit 30, so you save for 9 years, you put it in a good investment account. You see at the top bar, when Jack hits the age of retirement, which is around 60 to 65, he will have $2.5 million. Now, you can live off $2.5 million pretty good because all your stuff going to be paid for, and just the interest off of that alone would give you 6 figures every year. So, but you have to start. So this is what Jack did. At 21, he put $50 a week in savings until he was 30. Now, the other gentleman, Blake didn't start investing until he was 30. He invested that same $50 a week, but he kept it going on every year until he was 67. The first one started at 21. The second one started at 30. The first one invested $50 a week for 9 years. The second invested $50 a week for 38 years. At the end, when both of them hit 67, the one who started at 21 had $2.5 million. The one who started at 30 had $1.4 million. Now, $1.4 million isn't to sneeze at. But the point is, this is a virtually guaranteed way for passive income, but folk don't want to do this. You say, well, Pastor, why do you don't want to do this? They don't want to do this because of this verse. The verse Proverbs 28, and there are actually 3 verses in Proverbs that deal with this. Proverbs 13:11 says this in the New Living Translation. Wealth from get-rich-quick schemes quickly disappears. Wealth from hard work grows over time. Then Proverbs 28:20, the trustworthy person will get a rich reward, but a person who wants quick riches will get into trouble. Proverbs 28:22, Greedy people try to get rich quick, but don't realize they're headed for poverty. And this is the Bible. Most of the things that you're sold in seminars are get-rich-quick schemes, and they rarely work. Now, you'll have an occasional person who just make it, but they rarely work. What I put on the screen, where you start saving, particularly if you are young and you save diligently for a certain period of time and have that in a good investment, that's a guaranteed passive income, but it's not exciting, and it's slow. And most parents will never teach their children this. And they won't teach their children this because they don't know it and do it themselves. There was a message that I preached years ago. I went back and listened to it this morning. It was called the $1 Million Cell Phone. And a lot of people say, well, Pastor, I just can't afford $50 a week. Can't do it. They can't do that. Can't put $50 a week. It's too much money. Can't spend $50 a week. But yet you got a $150 cell phone bill. You got an $80 to $100 cable bill. Lord knows how much them shoes cost. Often our mindset gears us to where we are constantly struggling and we never break out of it. And we want stuff that's get rich quick, when usually the success, when you look at it, is slow, and it's kind of like dieting. You know, our number one product is a product called the Cleaner, and they buy it sometimes. Some people buy it for the detox, but some people buy it because they got to lose a lot of weight real quick and they want to go to this party. It's a get healthy quick scheme. And to be honest about it, it takes time for this stuff. It takes time for anything great, but it's like Proverbs talk about, we want this get rich quick scheme, and it just don't work that well. And that's why passive income, it's one of those success forces that so few of our community has, because we're in the wrong mindset with stuff. We want to ride and blow everything we've got now without putting a savings program, without investing. And when you build up an investing portfolio, you do make money while you sleep. But it takes time for you to do that. But if you start young, and if you teach your children this, if they start, so Josie said, look, I want all my brothers to be in good shape when they're older. Because it ain't nothing worse than you getting 60, 70 years old and you broke. Now you can't work as long as you used to because your body is not as strong. You got to get out there and go, and you ain't got no money. That thing is and especially for people who are entrepreneurs, it gets really risky because oftentimes they have no Social Security. So sometimes you can get into they have no Social Security and no retirement, and then you get old and you're in this mess. So you need to teach your children this. If you're past the 30 to 40 or 50 where you can start this program, you need to teach your children. And you have them start early. And if you have them start saving, by the time they are 50, 60 years old, they've got millions of dollars saved up. And they're going to be economically comfortable, and they will have passive income. I can't do $50 a week. Many of you got $400 or $500 or $600 car notes. And if you'd have gotten a $200 a month car note instead of a $400, $500, $600 a car note, you could have easily done it, and they're going to ride just the same. But you don't understand. It's a mindset. Oh, Pastor, if I'm riding in a 5, 6-year-old car, folks, they're going to think I ain't got no money. Because it's true, you ain't got none. Because if you got to struggle with that car note, you don't have any. It's absolutely true. You're trying to fool folk. So you need to do some things that will allow you to truly build passive income. My daddy used to have, it used to be this Smith Barney. They were an investment firm. And they would come on and just be this old actor. And he had this deep, serious voice. He used to play a professor on one of the TV shows. And he would come out and he would say, we make our money the old-fashioned way. We earn it. And my father always liked that commercial because now we don't want to earn things. We want it easy. And it's like Proverbs says, the get-rich-quick schemes just don't work. And I did talk to my son on yesterday. We had a long conversation because he was the one who said he wanted passive income. And I had a project for him. And I said, if you put full focus, if you put time, this project has the potential to do what you want, but you got to work like we used to say, Elon Musk said you need to work like H-E-L-L. I said, no, I don't want to use that. So you got to work like a champion. I said, you can do this, and this can produce what you want, but you have to work like a champion for a season. And if you work like a champion for a season, if you get this done, you can do what you want to do. A lot of people, they don't even want to put in the season's work. They don't want to put in the sweat that it's going to take to do that. So the power of the success force of passive income. We have out in our conference room at the company, we've got the rules of gold from a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. There are 7 rules of gold that I want to just go over with you right quick. Number 1, it says, start thy purse to fattening, save money. And that's the point. That's the $50 a week. This is an old book, but its principles have never changed. Start thy purse to fattening, save money. Number 2, control thy expenditures. Don't spend more than you need. You don't need no big old car note. You don't need no big old house note if you can't afford it. Don't spend more than what you can afford. Number 3, make thy goal multiply, invest wisely. Number 4, guard thy treasures from loss. Avoid investments that sound too good to be true. Invest with those experienced and successful in handling gold. That's a real good principle. Invest with those experienced and successful in handling gold. James handles all of our investments. I can't handle it. Well, Pastor, were you dumb? No, I ain't dumb. I am not what you call risk averse. I'm a gambler. I like big stuff, real fast, real big. I'm just honest about it. That's just me. But you got to know your nature. You have to know your nature. So I'm the kind of just, I'm a gambler. I'm a high-risk adventurer. It's not good. James is more methodical, and he can wait, and he'll. I ain't like that, man. Let's roll it. Let's see what it might. See, I know the stats real good. The probability is this thing gonna flop, but if it don't, it's gonna be big. So I have that nature. So what I've had to do right now, we're getting ready to do something right now that I'm spearheading, and we're gonna put this money behind it. But what I said, look, I know the logical probability is 95% this thing gonna lose all this money. It's a 95% probability it's gonna lose all the money. I said, but if it don't, it's gonna be big. It's gonna be big. So basically what we had to do, James said, look, this is how much we can afford to lose out of the investment pot. We can lose this on your idea that ain't likely gonna come to pass, but if it does come to pass, it's gonna be big. So you gotta make sure that you're partnered with somebody with some sense and with some control, and they got some money. See, that's the first rule that will tell you how smart they are if they got some money. My daddy always used to say, I have so much stuff from my father that he always said, look, before you go ask me about my business, how y'all doing? And that's a real good way of analyzing. Don't take monetary advice from anybody who broke. Now, Pastor, you ought not to say it. Yes, I ought to say that too. Because that's a principle. Don't take monetary advice from anybody who's broke. They're going to have plenty of time to give you advice. But you take your advice from somebody who got some money, and they can tell you how to get yours. That's just a principle that I've never seen fail. Take your advice from someone who has success in the area that you. So don't you invest with somebody who's not experienced and successful in handling gold. Number 5. Make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. Basically, what it's saying is always own where you live. Always own where you live. Most value or wealth in the average American family is in the house itself. Don't pay rent. own where you live. And that my daddy drilled that thing into us, so we don't rent any commercial property. We own the buildings where our businesses are. We own the houses where we live. We just rent adverse. Now, sometimes if you're only going to be somewhere for a short period of time, that's fine. But you should always own where you live, but you never live up to your limit. Don't you look at what the bank said they're going to lend me. Because let me tell you what, whenever you get to figure what the bank said they're going to lend you, this is what they're saying. This is the amount that we will lend you so you stay in a constant strain every month. That's what the limit of the bank is. So when you borrow to your limit, you're going to be in a constant strain every single month. You always want to buy something that's below what you can actually strain to afford, because that's the way the bank figure it. They figure it on what you can strain to afford. So if they say you can afford $300,000, you don't buy more than $220 or $230. That way you will be comfortable and you won't be up to your limit, because a banker is not interested in you getting out of debt. They make money from you when you stay in debt and when you keep paying for the thing. That's how they get rich. So these are just some principles, and that was principle number 5. Make sure you own your home. Number 6, ensure a future income. Protect yourself with life insurance. Now, if you by yourself, you don't need life insurance. Because if you die and it's just you don't need life insurance. But if you got a family and you got somebody depending on you, you need life insurance, because stuff happens. Stuff just happens. And you'll be surprised how many funerals we deal with where folk die and ain't no money to bury them. So you need to make sure you have life insurance. Number 7, improve thy ability to earn. Strive to become wiser and more knowledgeable. Keep learning. Keep learning about investments, or however you want to do it. Whatever, you got to keep your knowledge expanding. I still read and study. My goal is 2 hours a day, so I still keep learning. I actually studied more now than I did when I was in college. Keep learning, and it changes your mentality. It'll elevate you to different things. Always keep your knowledge growing. Now, I'm talked about passive income in terms of money, but there's another passive income that's far greater than that, and that's spiritual. Jesus says simply this: don't store up treasures here on earth, where moths eat them and rust destroys them, and where thieves break in and steal. Store your treasure in heaven, where moths and rust cannot destroy, and thieves do not break in and steal. Wherever your treasure is, there the desires of your heart will be also. See, the true passive income is your treasure in heaven. Even if you save that $50 a week, and even at the age of 60, you're able to just stop working and have all this money, the odds are you're not going to live but another 20, 30, maybe even 40 years. So all of that you have worked for in 20, 30, or 40 years, you ain't going to have. Now, maybe you'll be able to leave it in inheritance, but you won't have it because you won't be here. But the money that you put in your treasure in heaven will last you far longer than 20, 30, or 40 years. That is an eternal passive income, but folk don't think about that. And what you do here will determine your reward there, but your reward there is eternal. Your reward here is temporal. It's time limited. And it goes by real fast and is real short. But your reward in heaven is the greatest of the passive income rewards. Now, I don't know what I'm going to be doing in heaven, to be honest. I don't know whether it's work up there or not, because Jesus didn't describe it. So I don't know whether I'm going to be working or just laying around the pool all day long. I don't know. But I do know it's worth it for me to put the investment here, because just like I mentioned about that thermometer, when I get to the gates or when I got to get to the judgment and I want to put my head there to see, I want that light to be green. I don't want it beeping red. And they said, no, you too hot. You got to go to the other place. I don't want mine beeping red. I want it beeping green. That is the greatest of the passive incomes, is your treasure in heaven. So what I've talked about most of today, just some practical stuff. Because money is a real concern among Christians. And many of us, when we hit our later years, we're not economically prepared at all. And we go through life with this struggle, constantly trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to impress folk. And it keeps our money all messed up. And it should not be. So learn, study. You can make passive income, but don't go into it thinking you're going to make it easy. Go into it prepared to fight and to work. And if you do that, for sometimes what is quite a long season, yeah, I can not work now, but I worked 7 years in the company before I got my first check. James worked 4 years before he got his first check. So you got to put in some time with this stuff. It's not easy. That's why Proverbs said those who looking for money for get rich quick going to generally end up in poverty. It takes some time to do this stuff. It takes some energy, takes some effort, and you have to do it the right way. Hang around somebody, ask somebody, study somebody who has already successfully done it. Don't follow a broke crowd. Simple as that. Who you hang around going to determine where you go. Simple as that. So people, I want to pray a blessing right now just over your money and your future money. Dear Heavenly Father, right now, Father, I want you to open up the windows of heaven for the people within the sound of my voice who are able to receive it. For some are not able to receive it. For those who are able to receive it, Father, I pray right now the opening of the windows of heaven. And Father, I pray right now that when you bless them, let them not forget where the blessing came from. And Father, those right now, even there's some who may not even deserve it right now. Father, I just pray for grace. Grace in the arena of finance, that you shall pour upon them blessings that they have not room enough to receive. But Father, I pray right now that you enlarge their minds, enlarge their spirits, enlarge their room to receive. In thy Son Jesus' name we pray. Amen.